students, I'm back with your next class. In today's class, we are going to discuss few important aspects associated with water pollution. So let us start with biomagnification. Alright. So first of all, biomagnification. What is it all about? See, biomagnification means the process or a phenomena in which we see that certain kind of pollutants or certain chemicals, they keep on increasing or they keep on getting magnified in the tissues or body of an organism as it passes through the food chain. Okay, it will keep on getting magnified and finally in the top carnivore it will be found in maximum quantity. So this magnification is called biomagnification. Alright, so see here the definition. The phenomena through which certain pollutants get accumulated in the tissues in increasing concentration along the food chain is called biomagnification. Such pollutants are DDT, mercury, etc., which are non-biodegradable. Because this kind of chemicals or these pollutants are non-biodegradable, that's why they will keep getting magnified in the tissues of the organism. Alright, because once it enters the body, it cannot be further excreted out or it cannot be metabolized. Alright, now so they get accumulated in fat containing tissues of the organ. Like with this example, it would become much more clear to you. I have taken example here for DDT. See, in the water, suppose DDT will enter. As it first enters, it is in the concentration of 0.03 parts per billion. Alright. Now when it is being taken up inside the body or inside the cells of the zooplanktons, now in the zooplanktons the concentration of DDT increases to 0.04 parts per million. Alright. Now the zooplankton will be eaten up by the small fish. Further, it will be accumulated in more concentration in the small fish. Now the concentration becoming 0.5 parts per million, ppm. Further, when the small fish will be eaten up by the large fish, now the concentration is further increased, it becomes 2 parts per million. And finally, when the large fish will be eaten up by the fish-eating bird, so the concentration now becomes maximum, that is 25 parts per million. Alright, so it is mostly the biomagnification process is going to be maximum affecting the fish-eating birds, and it would also lead to decline in their population. Alright, how? See this. The high concentration of DDT disturbs the calcium metabolism in birds, which causes thinning of eggshells and premature breaking. Of course, premature breaking of the eggs would lead to decline in the bird's population. Alright, so do remember, biomagnification means increase in concentration of a pollutant or of a chemical as it passes through the food chain, maximum affecting the top carnivore or the fish eating birds as per my example. Alright, now next moving to the second part that we are going to discuss. This is called eutrophication. Okay, eutrophication is another important aspect associated with water pollution. See, surface runoff or runoff from agricultural fields consist of fertilizers, isn't it? And mostly the fertilizers which contains nitrates or phosphates, right? Because nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, you all know, are critical elements. They are always going to be deficient in the soil. Hence, they have to be artificially applied to the soil. So, the water from such agricultural fields, if it passes on to the nearby rivers or lakes, what will happen? The lakes will also get enriched with nutrients. And as they will get enriched with nutrients, more and more of algae will be able to grow there. Further, more and more of, because algae is growing there, further more and more of organisms, more and more of aquatic organisms will also be able to grow there. Likewise, as more and more of organisms starts growing in the lake, organic matter content in the lake will keep on increasing over time. And eventually, the lake will become shallower and shallower. Okay, just like you've seen in hydraulic succession, how eventually more and more types of plants starts growing in the water body, leading to finally mesic condition. That means forest will be formed. That means the entire lake is lost. An aquatic ecosystem has been lost, isn't it? So this is known as eutrophication. Means as more and more of nutrient will get enriched in a water body or in a lake, more and more of organisms will be able to grow there, due to which organic matter content of such an area will increase, finally making the lake shallower and shallower over time, eventually leading to the extinction or leading to the complete disappearance of the lake. Understood? So see this. It is excessive growth of algae, plants and animals in water bodies due to nutrient enrichment, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus. It can be again of two types. First, natural. Second is cultural or accelerated. Natural. It is natural aging due to nutrient enrichment and is a very slow process. Now this one is not going to happen due to any kind of man-made activities or disturbance. When a lake will be lost eventually due to nutrient enrichment happening naturally, okay, at that time the process is going to be very slow, and it might take thousands of years for a lake to fill up. So that is natural. But if in case a particular nutrient enrichment keeps occurring in a lake due to man-made activities, at that time the process will be very rapid, and in an accelerated manner the lake will be lost within maybe a few years. So that will be under the second category. Alright. One is natural, another is man-made. That's the difference. Alright. So see, a young water body have cold clear water which slowly gets runoffs from streams etc., adding nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, which encourages growth of aquatic organisms. This increases its fertility and many plants and animals starts growing and depositing organic matter on the lake bottom. Over the centuries, lake bottom gets shallower and warmer and is eventually lost. But it takes centuries for such a process to happen or occur. Alright. So in a lifetime, a person won't be able to see naturally a lake filling up. Alright. That's not possible. But then the second one, in this one it is going to be accelerated a process. So within a lifetime you can yourself see a lake filling up and completely getting lost. Alright, due to man-made activities. So cultural or accelerated eutrophication, it occurs due to man-made activities like runoffs from homes and industry, and is a rapid process. Mainly runoffs from agricultural fields which act as plant nutrients overstimulates the growth of algae, causing unsightly scum, unpleasant odors and robbing water of dissolved oxygen. In such a manner, a lake can literally choke to death within a few years. Alright, within a lifetime, it is possible for you to observe accelerated eutrophication. Alright, I hope all of you are clear so far, right? Next, thermal pollution. Thermal pollution basically means water heating up. Why? Because effluents or like cooling agent in most of the industries is nothing else but water, isn't it? But while the water is being used there as a cooling agent, it will heat up, and that heated up water will be directly released to the water, to the nearby water bodies, isn't it? That will increase the temperature of the water bodies as a whole, and that's how many organisms living in the water, they will have to suffer. Because you very well know that all of the organisms, they have a specific temperature in which their physiology would work, right? So for every organism, after like beyond a particular temperature range, there are many organisms who won't be able to survive, right? So in that case, if the water bodies, they heat up, what will happen? The organisms, the aquatic organisms living in such water, they won't be able to, adapt to such kind of changes, and they might start to die. That would lead to excessive fish mortality again. So like hot water directly released to the water bodies, that is also a very important form of water pollution. Alright, thermal pollution. So see here, hot water from industries is another notable category of pollutants. It eliminates the number of organisms sensitive to high temperature and might sometimes enhance the growth of plants and fish in extreme cold areas, but only after causing damage to flora and fauna that is indigenous to that system. Alright. Understood this? So this being the different aspects of water pollution, notably biomagnification, eutrophication and thermal pollution. These are very important for your exam as well. Now let us go through a case study that is based on integrated wastewater treatment. Alright. So let's first go for FOAM, Friends of Arcata Marsh. Now what is Friends of Arcata Marsh? See here. Arcata is a small town in northern coast of California. Alright. And the town people along with biologists of Humboldt State University created an integrated wastewater treatment process. The cleaning occurs here in 2 steps. Alright. First step. Conventional sedimentation, filtering and chlorine treatments are given to the wastewater, after which dissolved heavy metals will still remain in the water. They are further to be purified, isn't it? For that we have a second step. The second step is that they now developed a series of 6 connected marshes. Marshes means wetlands, isn't it? Lands that are filled with water. So in that case, they have made 6 interconnected marshes over 60 hectares of land. It's a very large project. All right, and they seeded appropriate plants, bacteria, fungi, etc. into this area, into this marshy land. They have seeded appropriate bacteria, plants, fungi, etc., which neutralizes, absorbs and assimilates the pollutants. So in 2 steps the entire processing is happening. First, by conventional sedimentation, filtering, etc. from the wastewater, the large particles are removed. After that, mainly the toxic substances like heavy metals and all will remain, isn't it? That has to be purified. To purify that, the wastewater is now allowed to pass through 6 interconnected marshes, which covers around 60 hectares of land. And in those marshes, there will be different types of bacteria, fungi, etc. present. Whatever biodegradable substances will be present now in that wastewater, they will now start getting processed by those bacteria, fungi, even plants, etc. Alright, so eventually what will happen? As the water is going to pass from one marsh to another, it is going to get purified. Again, from suppose 2nd to 3rd, further it is getting purified, 3rd to 4th, further purification. So finally, when the water reaches the 6th marsh, it is completely purified. Alright, understood this? So FOAM, or Friends of Arcata Marsh, it's not only a integrated way of wastewater treatment, but now it has converted into a sanctuary as well, because there are various types of high level of biodiversity maintained there in the form of fish, birds, etc. And people can go and visit this exquisite way of how wastewater is being treated and biodiversity also being maintained. Alright, and a citizen group called Friends of Arcata Marsh, they are responsible for taking care or safeguarding of this wonderful project. That's why the name is Friends of Arcata Marsh. That's the group of that citizen group which is taking care of this project. They together are known as Friends of Arcata Marsh. Alright, clear? Now the last one is eco-sanitation. Now, eco-sanitation is a very practical or hygienic or a very eco-friendly manner of handling human excreta. Human excreta, when it is dissolved in water, that is responsible for causing various types of waterborne diseases. So in that case, how to handle the fecal matter or human excreta, that has become a major challenge, right, for wastewater treatment or for water pollution. So in that case, eco-sanitation is a perfect way of how we can dispose of the fecal or the human excreta in a more practical and an eco-friendly manner. So see here, it's a sustainable system of handling human excreta using dry composting toilets. It recycles the human excreta into natural fertilizers. That's why it's an eco-friendly way, because here we are not only handling the human excreta, but we are also converting it into natural fertilizer. That's why reducing the need for chemical fertilizers. Alright. Thus, they are called eco-san toilets. Alright. and it is being now used in various parts of Kerala and Sri Lanka already. Fine. So this is all about water pollution. Thank you.